pitching and flipping, we've done a ton of it on Fishful. Thank you. You've seen several shows of why, because it's one of the most important things that a bass fisherman can understand and get a good grasp of. So let's quick rundown on the tackle. This is what we did all the damage with today. We talked about it a lot. It's the Revo Rocket, 20-pound test trilene, 100% fluorocarbon, the Fusion 19 4/0 hook, the Pit Boss, and the little tungsten weight there, and the 7'4" heavy power fast action St. Croix Legend Extreme rod. This day in and day out, if I'm fishing around wood cover, if I'm fishing around more open water around docks, this is the one I throw day in and day out. But you'll notice I have another one that's exactly like it right here. 7'4" heavy power, still got the Revo Rocket on it, same rod and reel combination, but this one happens to have 65-pound trilene X5 braid on it. The reason I have two identical rods is there's a lot of scenarios where I prefer the braid. Typically that's going to tie to vegetation. If I get around vegetation or really heavy cover, and if the camera pans over briefly right here, you can see, guys, that there's a ton of heavy wood cover. If I'm going to be pitching way back in here and I know I really have to lean on fish, which we didn't really have to do today, then I want the heavy braid, because the heavy braid has all kinds of tensile strength and abrasion resistance. When you take this and you Palomar knot it to one of those hooks, you got them. When you set the hook, you got them. That rod's got plenty of power and everything else to get it back to you. So I typically carry both of those anytime there's a chance somebody pitching and flipping around heavy cover. The last one that I would suggest that you consider is a more finesse flipping rod. Now this has got the Revo ALF on it. It's still an 8-to-1 gear ratio, so it's still really fast. Somewhere I think 33 inches of line per turn. Not as fast as the Rockets at 41, but still a very fast reel, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, which is an advantage to it. Because this rod is a 7'1" medium heavy power instead of a 7'4" heavy power. It's extra fast action, it's very sensitive. This rod is better suited to presenting something like the soft stickworm, like the Berkley Maxent General that we have right here. And I've got only an 1/8 ounce weight on it. Again, I have the braid. I have the braid for sensitivity in this case. So plus the braid will compensate for some of the lack of the power in the rod. You get a really strong hook set with it. It's an excellent way to land fish. Plus this rod's a little bit more versatile. You can do other things with it. So I might use a rod like this for a whole variety of different things, but it's my finesse flipping rod, or pitching rod as I would call it. But between those three rods right there, they're all really fast retrieve ratios. They all got big heavy rope on them of some sort, either braid or fluorocarbon. And they're all extremely light sensitive rods. Really important, and those are keys to the setup right there. So a soft stickworm like the Berkley General, a Pit Boss, and maybe like a 1/2 ounce or a little bit heavier black and blue, or maybe a green pumpkin jig of some sort with a trailer on it. That's going to do the bulk of all your pitching and flipping duties. So if you keep those in your boat all the time, you're always prepared to catch fish.